Yes on this measure requiring the use of body-worn cameras by our law enforcement officers during law enforcement operations. Simple lamang po ang layunin ng panukalang ito: truth, transparency, and accountability. Sa dami ng mga insidenteng nagsumbong na po sa aking programa, mga arrest operations na may aligasyon ng pang-abuso, mga search na kinikwestiyon ng proseso, at mga operasyong nauwi sa banggaan ng salaysay, iisa lang po ang laging tanong ng taong bayan: ano ba talaga ang totoo at sino nagsasabi ng totoo? But by requiring officers to wear body-worn cameras while conducting official operations such as arrest, searches, service of warrants, entrapment and bypass operations, hot pursuit operations, and other enforcement activities, ginagarantiya po natin na may recording ang mga galaw ng parehong mga sospek at kapulisan na pwedeng i-review kung may kinakailangan. Hindi po ito laban sa kapulisan. In fact, this is as much a protection of our police officers as it is for the public. Marami po tayong matitinong pulis na nadadamay sa maling paratang. With a functioning body-worn camera, there will be an objective record of events. Hindi na ito magiging he said, she said, because the footage will speak for itself. In short, may resibo na po. The use of body-worn cameras is a very basic solution, but it's very effective for law enforcement and public accountability. Kasi nga po, nagkaroon na tayo ng resibo. Ito ang kailangan natin sa ating mga ahensya sa gobyerno, lalong-lalo na sa ating mga law enforcement agencies. The footage can serve as credible evidence that they perform their duties properly and within the bounds of the law. Ang body-worn cameras ay magsisilbing impartial witness sa bawat operasyon. Walang kinikilingan, walang binabago. Sa ganitong paraan, napapalakas natin ang tiwala ng publiko sa mga ating law enforcement agencies, habang napoprotektahan din ang karapatan ng lahat. Mr. President, the passage of this measure will build greater trust between the public and our law enforcement institutions. Transparency strengthens accountability, and accountability strengthens public confidence. I would like to thank the principal sponsor of this measure, Senator J.V. Ejercito, for fast-tracking the passage of this measure. Senator J.V. Ejercito, I share the same advocacy of promoting truth, transparency, and accountability in law enforcement. Mr. President, it is with pride that I cast my vote yes. Thank you, Mr. President.
Author of this measure, which institutionalizes support for public basic education schools in geographically isolated and disadvantaged areas, I respectfully seek the permission of the sponsor, Senator Bam Aquino, to be made a co-sponsor thereof. Education is a fundamental right and a powerful equalizer for many Filipino children living in geographically isolated and disadvantaged areas. Access to quality education remains constrained by distance, inadequate infrastructure, and limited public service. No child should be denied learning opportunities simply because of geography. This measure addresses these persistent barriers by strengthening support for public basic education schools in geographically isolated and disadvantaged areas, ensuring that learners in remote and marginalized communities are provided with accessible, safe, and adequate school facilities. It mandates the establishment of GIDA schools where needed, provides clear indicators for identifying communities facing significant educational access challenges. The bill strengthens planning and coordination through the development of a national GIDA schools mapping system, which will guide infrastructure planning, resource allocation, policy interventions for underserved communities. By institutionalizing support systems for GIDA schools, this measure advances our commitment to inclusive and equitable education for all Filipinos. I thank the good sponsor, Senator Bam Aquino, for making this a priority. Thank you for hearing it soonest and for sponsoring it last week. I apologize, I was not able to read my co-sponsorship because I was on sick leave last week. I would just like to put on record as well. Remember, I'm sure you've seen it online, the video of children walking through the side of a mountain where there was a mud flow by a river somewhere in Cebu. I hope that these bills and policies don't end up just ink on paper, but that particular GIDA school in that barangay in Cebu is addressed immediately. It may not have been in the GAA 2026 budget, but I'm certain that the DepEd has some funds which can be used and that the DPWH or perhaps the DBM Secretary said the LGSF can address that issue. It's something that went viral, then what? This is a GIDA school policy. It will take time before we put our words into action. But we have the GAA 2026, naka-FLR pa yata lahat, pero sana yung LGSF ay mabigay sa particular school na yon at marami pa pong gaya noon sa iba't ibang lugar. Thank you, Mr. President.
George Leader.
Thank you. And I also conferred with Senator Bam Aquino. He gladly accepts the co-sponsorship request of our distinguished colleague. And the timing is perfect because we have also the Secretary of DBM here with us today, Mr. President. I hope that they prioritize these last mile schools, but it's a different name now. I believe Senator Bam called them. What is the geographically isolated and disadvantaged areas? GIDA or GIDA, Mr. President.
Whatever.
Yes, whatever name, it's the same name.
It's just like finance and finance. You know,
That's
Senator
correct, Mr.
Enrile
President.
pronounces it as finance. I pronounce it as finance.
Yes.
Now, when I checked Webster, the American pronunciation is finance, but the British pronunciation is finance.
Yes, Mr. President.
Yeah, so we're both right.
It's like tomato and tomato. Tomato and tomato. Anyway, it's all the same one. It's all the
Senator
same.
Francis Pangilinan is recognized.
But I believe, Mr. President, whether it is British or American, it is both isolated. Neither British or American pronunciation would be isolated. Mr.
Correct.
Isolated.
You are absolutely right.
Thank you, Mr. President. Next to explain their vote, Mr. President, Senator Mark Villar.
Senator Mark Villar is recognized.
Mr. President, I rise to explain my yes vote on Senate Bill number 1908, or the Law Enforcement Body-Worn Camera Act. Body-worn cameras have been an integral part of law enforcement in other countries. It has been an effective deterrent against police abuse in other countries and is instrumental in the speedy resolution of cases. Mr. President, this bill is also timely and responsive in the midst of the hyper-digital era, where every occurrence from a simple traffic incident to a legitimate police operation are captured and documented by camera-enabled devices. How about the other side of the coin? Mr. President, this is where we have to tread cautiously but firmly the lines of effective law enforcement, data privacy, and human rights concerns. I personally witnessed the efficiency of our PNP when I visited their Quezon City headquarters 3 years ago. During my visit, sinubukan po natin ang response time ng PNP sa mga krimen. Pumili po tayo ng isang remote area sa Quezon City na rerespondehan ng ating kapulisan. Within 5 minutes, nakarating na po ang deployed forces ng PNP. This kind of law enforcement response is what we are envisioning with the implementation of body-worn cameras. Kaakibat ng mabilis na responde ng PNP, makapagbibigay ang body-worn cameras ng complementary at supplementary support sa kanilang operations. On the same note, ang pagpapasa sa batas na ito ay isang proteksyon ng human rights sa bansa. Hindi lang ng publiko kundi para rin sa lahat ng involved sa operations dahil recorded po ang bawat galaw ng ating kapulisan. Mas mapapaigting ang transparency at accountability ng ating kapulisan. Madadagdagan nito ang kumpiyansa ng publiko sa ating law enforcement agency at matutulungan mapababa ang krimen dahil sa mas matibay na community engagement. As such, Mr. President, I affirm my steadfast support for this bill being forwarded by our esteemed sponsor, Senator J.V. Ejercito. I share his eagerness in guaranteeing that our law enforcement will be equipped with the necessary gear to adequately accomplish their duties. Thank you, Mr. President.